It's the political problem of totalitarianism. In all the cases, the problem is the extension of anticipating forcing, of anticipation like in a form of a forcing. And it's very important to distinguish the pure question of the construction of a truth across finite choices and the question of the potency of a truth, which is always the question of anticipation, infinite anticipation of a complete truth and forcing of some bits of knowledge. This problem can be expressed simply thus. Can we, from the finite subject of a truth, name and force into knowledge all the elements that this truth concerns? How far does the anticipating potency of generic infinity go? My answer is that there is always, in any situation, a real point that resists this potency. I call this point the unnameable of the situation, not with a name from the point of view of the anticipation of a truth. It is that point what, within the situation, never has a name in the eyes of a truth, a term which consequently remains unforeseeable, which is sustained to forcing. This term fixes the limit of the potency of a truth. The unnameable is what is excluded from having a proper name. A proper name is a name of some element in situation from the point of view of the process of the truth. From the point of view of the process of truth, we have a new proper name for all elements of situation. It is the action of forcing. The action of forcing from the hypothesis of a completed truth is to give a name to all the terms of situation. For example, when Galileo is writing that all nature can be written in mathematical language, he is saying that all elements of nature have a mathematical name, a possible mathematical name in the situation, and so on. So the hypothesis of the point of unnameable is a hypothesis that there is always one point without that sort of name, without name from the point of view of the construction of a truth. The unnameable is then something like the proper of the proper. It has not a proper name because it is the proper of the proper. And so singular, so intimate in the situation that it does not even tolerate having a proper name. So proper that it has no proper name. So singular in its singularity that it is the only one not to have a proper name. The unnameable is the point where the situation in its most intimate being is submitted to thought and not to knowledge. In the pure presence that no knowledge can circumscribe. The unnameable is something like the inexpressible real of everything a truth authorizes to be said. We can say so that the limit of the potency of a truth finally is something that, like the real of the truth itself. Because the limit of the potency of the truth is the point where something is so real for the truth that there is no name in the field of the construction of the truth for that point. Let us take an example. The mathematical. The mathematical is, as you know, pure deduction. We always suppose that it contains no contradiction. But, as you know, the great mathematician Gödel showed that it is impossible to demonstrate within a mathematical theory that this theory is non-contradictory. A mathematical truth cannot then force the non-contradiction of mathematics. So, for a mathematical truth, the non-contradiction of the mathematical itself is a point, a limiting point of potency of mathematical truth. We will say that non-contradiction is the unnameable of the mathematical. And it is clear that this unnameable is properly the real of the mathematical, for if a mathematical theory is contradictory, it is destroyed. It is nothing. So, first, the real of a mathematical theory is non-contradiction. Secondly, non-contradiction is a limit of the potency of a mathematical theory, because within the theory we cannot demonstrate that the theory is not contradictory. And so finally, exactly the non-contradiction of a theory, so of a mathematical truth, is the limit point of the potency of the construction of the mathematical truth itself. Consequently, a reasonable ethic of mathematics is to not wish to force this point. Because if you have the temptation of forcing the point of non-contradiction, you destroy mathematical consistency itself. To accept, ethics point is to accept that a mathematical truth is never complete. Is never complete. But this reasonable ethic is difficult to hold. As can be seen with scientism or with totalitarianism, there is always a desire from the omnipotence of the truth. There lies the root of evil.